of the transaction, it could cause delays and other issues too.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think the big conversation we were having was non-KW agents cutting their commissions to make the deal get through. And whether or not we should be educating them on how to defend their commission, I don't. If they don't want to pay, I mean, you know what I mean? If they're wanting to reduce their commission, I'm not gonna, if it's gonna net my seller more money, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna let them do it. I'm not gonna talk them any other way. That's just me.
And they'll offer that, Sandy, like you're saying, they will straight up offer that. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm not going to argue with you about what you're asking for. Maybe that's what you're wanting in your mind. That's what I'm not going to argue with you about that. And I'm certainly hired to take care of my seller. So we're absolutely going to do that as well.
And we don't know what the buyer agency agreement that these people have signed is. They could have got those buyers to sign because they're like, I'll work for you at 1%. And if they present an offer where they're asking, they're just following the contract that they created. So to Sandy's point, that's not our business. That's up to them and what they've done. So we don't need to overstep our boundaries as listing agents. It's not a training thing. Who knows what their business model is for their business? So
right. And at the same time, if they want to be educated more, we can give them to because that's what happened to me the other day. Is a buyer agent said, "Gosh, you guys must have great training." And then I thought, "Oh yeah, we do." And he goes, "Well, I'd like to talk more about your office after this deal's over." So I'm going to give him to Brandy.
Good deal, Sandy. Woo-hoo!
Good job. So, hey, before I forget, so Christy, I see you're here now. I gave you a shout out a while ago, but you didn't hear it because I didn't shout loud enough, apparently. I wanted to give you kudos for you getting out and doing your meeting with business owners and doing the marketing, the kind of soft marketing approach there and connecting with people. Josh and I did that in the past, and then we got out of the habit, and anything like that, you have to be consistent with for it to really make a difference. And so good job getting out there. It's a smart thing because it's cheap, it's relatively easy, and you're making relationships, and that's what we got to do. So good job, Christy. So
thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun, and I've met some really cool people, learned about some really cool new businesses, and it's just been really fun. And it's so funny too, because a few people that I'm just now meeting for the first time, there have been two of them that are like, well, you're a real estate agent, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. So you know who I am. Like, you're stalking my page. Now you know, and it's in your head. So it's kind of working.
Oh, cool. Now the cool thing to do there is get them in your database, see if you can find out where they live, offer set them up on a neighborhood nurture thing or something. I know when Josh and I did this, met with some people and did this similar thing, and I got business from it, but then I stopped doing it. So partly because he went to school and he was my editor, and that was complicated. But still, it was working, and then I stopped. So that was kind of stupid on my part. So stick with it. You will see results from it. I
appreciate it. Thank you.
So cool. Anything else on the commission thing, Brandy? We were kind of talking about what we spoke about the ALC, and the consensus is from the group here was if the buyer's agent isn't asking for 3%, 2%, whatever, if they're going to lowball themselves, that's on them. And sadly, it hurts them more than it hurts us and our clients. So that was kind of the short version of what the consensus was here. So, but I don't remember what else we were discussing there. So feel free to elaborate on that.
No, it's fine. Great job. And I apologize. I was on a phone call and it kept going and kept going. I was like, so I apologize for being late. I hate being late. So
I will forgive you.
Yeah. We were mentioning ALC about that commission. I think if I remember right, and I'm not looking at my notes, but just being able to defend our commission, I think we're doing a great job with it as far as that goes. But I don't want to see this trend, not just for our office, but the whole industry. I don't want this to be the thing that we all go to, like when times get tough and we're negotiating, well, let's just start talking commissions. because it seemed like that's been, at least in a couple of the incidences I've been involved in, that's the first thing that gets brought up. And I just whatever we can do to help change that. And if we're ever with like working or co-oping with another agent and they bring that up, you know, if it might be say, wow, our office has really trained us differently, you know, and we want to protect our commission. We want to protect your commission. Like, wow, you know, and just kind of like, hey, maybe you need us, maybe you need our office, maybe you need our training. Because not every office is training to that. So I appreciate, I don't need to bring us back into it, but I remember speaking about some of that at the ALC. So if y'all have talked about it, cool. I'll get the notes.
Cool. And, you know, and on that, you know, we got to figure out what our value is if we're asking someone for a $15,000 paycheck, you know, what do they get for that? And that's where I think a lot of us struggle or maybe go back and forth with trying to actually share what's unique or special about what we have to offer. And yeah, we don't have to be like one in a million on the only guy that does this or that, but you do need to figure out how you can competently, succinctly express your value when you're sitting down and talking to someone. Because if you say, I put it on Facebook and I do this and I do that, we all do that crap. You got to figure out what's unique about you and how you're going to be special for that buyer or seller. So and a lot of us struggle with that. And if you're newer, you may not have had a lot of transactions and you maybe haven't even figured that out yet. But I think that's really worth digging deep, talking to some other agents and figuring out what you should say when you're asking for that $15,000 paycheck or whatever it is. So just
yeah, love it.
I will say that buyer I had yesterday knows about 5 other agents in our office, which was like, oh, just feels kind of funny, you know. So it was just that I was at the right place at the right time. Literally.
So you want to share that commission with the other 5 agents?
Oh, it's 10,000 something.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to share that? Okay. No, I mean, split it up, you know, with the other paid people.
Oh, I see. Share it. Okay.
You don't want to do that? So, okay.
No.
So Sandy, did you mean there were 5 other offers, or what did you mean?
I mean, they know 5 other agents in our office.
Oh,
They know them.
And they called you to be their buyer's agent? Good job, Sandy.
I don't know why. I never did ask, but I should ask.
Sometimes it's right place, right time. I mean, I
feel like that was it. I came to their mind because I did just sell their mom's house. So
Well, there you go.
Sell their mom a house. Probably it. I don't know.
Well, and that kind of goes back to, like I was talking to Christy, but making sure they don't forget who you are, you know, because if they know 5 other people, those 5 other people might be posted on Facebook or something too. And sometimes it's the last one they see. So,
right. Also, I want you to know that that agent kickstart, I'm trying to utilize it just as all agents would, the new agents, agents. And so I put together the buyer agent consultation piece. All I had to do was plug in like 4 things. And I tried it out on them and it worked.
Nice.
Like it makes even your exclusive buyer's agency agreement easier.
Wow.
Because you're talking about all the things. So it was, I mean, we talked more than it was longer than it should have been because I know them. But anyway, it was easy. And if people don't have one, they should utilize it.
So Sandy, you're telling me, Sandy, that you've been an agent for 14 or 18 years and you got something out of that program?
Yeah, I want to see, I don't want somebody saying, I don't know what to say. It's a PowerPoint that tells you what to say. So
nice.
And also there's a presentation, a role play presentation in there that they're doing, so you can watch it. So I know people say, I want to shadow you. I want to watch you. I want to do this, that, and the other. Well, go on there and watch them. It's the 20-year realtor. with one of her people on the team, and she goes through the whole thing. It's pretty awesome.
That's
She
great.
talks about commissions and everything. Yeah.
And since you're on that topic, I will just say that if you did not attend any of those classes or want to know more about that tool, I will be teaching on it again next Wednesday evening of next week, 6 p.m. It will be on Zoom, and I'll be going through the whole program again. So it's not too late. I want everybody in this thing. There's good stuff in there, guys.
There is. There's a lot of good stuff. And yourself, the last 5 years, we haven't had to sit down and do these things. People would call us, they'd say, come list my house. You go list their house. You don't have to give a big long spill. The marketing's going to take this long, because once you put the sign in the yard, the thing's sold already anyway. So we all got out of the business of doing all of these things. So we're all, back in it. And we got to sharpen our skills and really be good at them. That's the market we're going to probably be in.
So I have a backhanded compliment for Sandy. Sandy's a total pro. If you're a new agent in our office, Sandy just crushes it always. So I mean this as a compliment. What Sandy just shared goes to show that action trumps anything else in our industry. We have a lot of new agents, and I do it myself sometimes. I try to over prepare and I got to know everything, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and I have to know how to say this, and my presentation has to look perfect, and I got to spend $100 with this marketing guy to get a logo made out of my initials, and I got to have an intro video, and you just don't. I loved at the ALC meeting. Here's my backhanded compliment. Was Sandy's I still don't know how to do that. There was one thing that we were talking about, or that they were talking about, and she's like, I don't even do it that way. And yet Sandy still is always at the top of the leaderboard, always crushing it. It's because she doesn't sit there and go, well, I don't know how to do this, so I'm not going to go do my job until I know how to do it. She just gets out there and crushes it. And then oh yeah, I don't do that, but that will make me be better. Or I don't sit down and go through a PowerPoint buyer presentation. I don't want to say you don't need to, but when you're as good as Sandy is and you just get out there and do it, you don't need all the crutches. It's action, right? And then having those things makes you even more professional. And I could do the same for Lonnie, because he taught a class one time where he said, I was going to this listing appointment, and he goes, honestly, I was unprepared for it. He ended up not getting the listing. But he goes, I walked in there and I was unprepared because I know what to say. I know what to do. And he knew the numbers off the top of his head, but somebody else had put together a really nice presentation and they were super prepared. And he was like, so lesson learned. I've been doing this for how many years, right? So all of the pro agents like Alani and a Sandy and all the other pros on here can usually just walk in there and crush it. That's because they take massive action. Every day it's action. You don't have to you don't have to know every little thing. Because once you get into it, what's Mike Tyson's line? Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. You walk in with your perfect plan and your perfect marketing thing, and then they ask you a question, and you're like, oh yeah, nobody in our office has even had that question before. This is a new thing. Now, and it's always something like that, right? If it's not COVID protocol, then it's a landfill just north of Creekmore, or it's a NAR law, a lawsuit settled. There's always something. So just get out there and stink and do your job. Just get out there and do it. Have the conversation. So anyway, great job, Sandy. You crush it. It doesn't matter if you have, if you start a loop through command, or it doesn't matter. You just get out there and crush it anyway. So
guess what? I taught myself how to do that so I could use less time. Yeah, I did that yesterday. So from now on, I will start in command and go to my loop. So I won't do all the other work with it. I used to do that, but one day, I don't know if it was an update they did or what, my dot loop wasn't connected. So I went in and took it off and put it back on. I was like, I don't know what I'm taking off here, but I'll put it back on, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, it all came together. It said, so it works.
Brandy, can we get just stink and do your job put on the wall somewhere in here? I think Tim's got a good quote there. So
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I have a shirt from Gary. It's Gary Keller quote that from Mega Camp last year that says, "Do the work." You know, do the fundamentals. Just do the work. Yeah, I like it. Just do your stinking job. Yeah, we can put.
Tim mentioned action, and I was actually looking up quotes as he was talking because had a couple minutes. And Jim Rohn once said, "Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action." So, on that note, there's a lot of classes available through KW that are free. We were talking about this in the tech committee the other day. I shared one yesterday. It's 100 days to build your, actually, was it 90 days and you build $100,000 what's the word? Cement brain
Your pipeline.
Pipeline. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There. So yeah, it's a free class in KW Command. There were several others in there that are free. Like that one was 2-3 hour Zoom sessions. And then I was just looking at KCRER. So many classes there. I mean, there's one about historic houses. That'd be kind of fun to go learn about. And I think it's credit. You get 3 credit hours for it. There's so many opportunities for free stuff to learn, not to mention books and crap you can read. It's silly not to be learning something on a regular basis. And of course, Brandy was a teacher. I'm sure she'll back that up. But, we've got so much out there that most of us don't even think about taking advantage of. And I challenge you almost to take a class next month or next week or something to learn something. So, but
one of the other things I want to really hone in on for me is talk about needing to learn and stuff like that is my database. I'm in there classifying it, and that's all because of that agent kickstart thing. Like she only had like 400 people in her database, and she made 16 million a year in GCI off that. So,
well, she sold 16 million in volume.
In volume, I meant, yeah.
I wish it was GCI.
I know, right? So just with 400 people, she did that and classified them. So, her VIPs are the ones she stuck to and did like weekly stuff with. So anyway, just saying, I'm fine tuning my stuff with it too. So.
And it's not just about the numbers in the database; it's about what you do with them, and that's what really matters. But but I was looking right now at KCRER. Some of the classes coming up. Have any of you used Remind? We get it for free. RPR, we get it for free. There's all kinds of classes on learning how to prospect with those. They're free. Historic properties. I'm going to sign up for that one. It's an elective, and so there's KCRER. Finding homes via voice search, accessible listing search. People are using their phones saying, "Hey, Siri, tell me what's for sale around me." Might be nice to learn something about that. RPR Masterclass, transform your listing presentations. That's free. It's on Zoom. You don't even have to go anywhere. Bias override, overcoming barriers to fair housing. Probably wouldn't hurt us to refresh on that. So many classes, super showing management powered by Broker Bay. You want to learn how to use that better? It's kind of boring, but making a splash with the ICE strategy, incredible client events. I don't know. It's a lot of free stuff. There's also books and crap, as Brandy reminded me, that we can learn. And, a lot of us aren't working 40 hours a week on our business. I think we probably have time for some of that stuff. But sorry, I'm on a high horse there. But
I think there's been times where I've been a professional student too, where I'm just like learning, and I'm not doing. Like,
well, Andy, what was that line that your mentor told you to get out of the office? What'd she say?
Get your ass out of the office and talk to people. That's what she told me. Yeah.
That works. And we can get a shirt. Maybe we can put that on the wall too.
That really is the key, because we all know everything else. Like, we can all do a deal. We just need the people. That's all. Belly to belly, they say, is the best way to do it.
Some of those tools, though, can be very beneficial for your business.
They can.
Learn more about how to, you can use, let's say, for example, you wanted to find like this is kind of my thing I've been thinking about for a while and haven't done it. What if I wanted to find a bunch of people, and Tom might like this too. If I wanted to go in Remind and look for people who have been in their house for 30 years and have a 2-story house, have 3 to 10 acres, and they have good equity in that house. You know, you can find that in Remind, you can narrow it down, you can send mailers out to those people, maybe saying, hey, I'm a senior specialist, or I have people looking for acreage. They might want to get rid of that house if they've been there 30 or 40 years, you know? So
And it's 2-story.
yeah, there's marketing opportunities there that some of those tools can help with. So, what else you got, guys? Anyone have questions for the group?
Somebody's got something. Come on, somebody. No problems. Everybody's good. No
Nice.
problems. No challenges.
It's easy.
I feel like the market's picking up. I do. I feel it. People are calling, and people are selling, people are buying. I just feel like it's moving.
I shared a snapshot from MLS from 150 highway down to Peculiar, and there's 73
Yeah, thanks for that, Paul.
Huh?
Thanks for that.
Yeah, 73 homes in pre-MLS right now. A lot of purple numbers out there. So I shared that on Facebook, and I'm chatting with a potential buyer because I shared it last night. So
Nice.
and of course, I did delete some comments that other agents put out there. I'm like, get off my post. This is mine. So helps to be an admin of the group. You can do that. But you know, something to think about. Easy, cheap marketing, just to get conversations going. That's what we have to do.
Well, I don't know if this might be something, Paul. Sometimes I like people like to hear how you got your clients. I know the market's picking up and things like that, but not everybody has found that to be true yet. And so I think it's kind of cool to see, you know, we see people, you all out there, you're closing deals, we see your pictures, we celebrate with you, but I would just like to know just quick answers. Where did you get your last client? How did you find them? Where'd they come from? Because I think some people could benefit from knowing that.
My most recent two are referrals from past clients.
Referrals from past clients. Okay, we love that.
That's where mine have been, past client referrals or referrals from past clients.
Love that. Nobody else has any clients?
Josh is getting them from... Go ahead, Tim.
I definitely need more clients. That's for sure. A lot of mine are probably, I would say, like SOI. However, I've got 2 listings. One's going to go live on Tuesday, and the other one's going to go live next weekend, either Thursday, either the 27th or 28th. They both were from open houses. So they were just people that I met hosting open houses. And one of them is in the neighborhood that I hosted, but they were longtime nurturers. I sometimes forget about those because I have an area of improvement, which is long-term nurture. I like doing open houses and then like picking up an unrepresented buyer that's shopping right now, you know, and then 30 days later, we're putting a contract in on a house. But to stay in touch with these were both cases, they were nosy neighbors that came in and they were like looking at the property and, you know, wanting to like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're asking $420 for it. Like, well, if they get that, we're going to sell. And then we get $420 for it. And I'm like, so then I go knock on their door. I'm like, hey, we got $420. Let me know when you want me to put my sign in your yard. Right. Like, and then they're really actually not interested in selling right then. But one of them, it was almost right at a year ago. The other one, it was about 7-8 months ago. And I've just continued to stay in touch with them and nurture. And now they're coming to the table. So, so part of my strategy this year for business growth is doing at least one open house a weekend. And so far or not a weekend, a month, one open house a month. And sometimes I'll do it'll be the same house, but I'll do it on Saturday and Sunday, but I consider that one. It's the same address. But that just gives me a chance to meet the neighbors, and I would hope to pick up an unrepresented buyer, but this year I haven't really. It's been more connections with neighbors and doing my door knocking and invites and stuff. So yeah, most of them are SOI, but a couple that I've got coming up right now are from doing open houses.
Hey, a friend of mine does a bunch of open houses and gets like almost half his business from them. Something he does that's pretty, that I never thought of, especially if you're in a less desirable floor plan, like an atrium or something weird, he will have printouts, MLS printouts from other homes, similar price point with a more desirable floor plan at his open houses. When someone says, oh, there's too many steps, he says, what do you think of this house? And then he's got appointments that afternoon after his open house showing them another house. So just a thought. So
I would agree with that, Paul. Whenever you're doing an open house, see what else is available in the neighborhood. And that way, if they don't like the house that you're in, you know something about, well, the house 2 streets over or the house around the corner is also available, or whatever. It really does help to prove, number one, that you know what the heck you're doing and what you're talking about. But, you know, if they don't like the house you're in, it gives you an opportunity to maybe help them find something else that they do like. I think that's a critical strategy if we're going to do open houses, to research the neighborhood a little bit, at least a little bit, get a snapshot of what's going on in the area. Good tip.
Another one is, instead of saying, hey, are you working with an agent? Say, has your agent explained to you about this or that, whatever it is? And then they're going to, most likely they're going to say no. But just kind of a different way of approaching that question. Or has your agent explained to you the changes with the NIR and settlement and with how that affects buyer's commission? And see what they say. But just a little different approach to get the same answer.
I like that, Paul, because it does 2 things. Number one, it finds out if they're represented, but then also it positions you as a professional. And you were talking about how do you show that you're bringing value to the transaction. If you mention something they haven't thought about, you get instant credibility and bringing value to them. So that's awesome.
So that's my awesome tip of the day. That's all I got. So, but all right. So, who else has something positive going on? Who's got a listed appointment coming up and might have a question? Anybody? Maybe newer folks?
Well, so I actually signed my first football buyer after 7 years of being in that coaching realm. Got the first one signed contract. We start looking next week for houses over in Wyandotte County for him.
Awesome. Good job.
Very good.
Hey, congrats. I knew that was going to pay off eventually.
Long-term nurture.
Consistency.
There's so many opportunities when we think about whether it's our own hobbies or kids' activities. I'm here because I talked to Ryan in our kids' karate classes for a long time. So I mean, my older son and his daughter got their black belt together. So I mean, there's a lot of money and a lot of time at that karate place. So you never know where you'll run into someone. My hiking group, I've got business from that. So tie in something you enjoy doing, where you're authentic and natural with people, and you'll get business there if you be intentional about it. So good job.
Well, and if I could brag on Steve Collins there for a second, Steve, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know Steve's listing that's under contract right now, I think we've shared this before. He got just a random phone call into the market center. Somebody asked for him by name. He didn't know. Got a listing out of it there in Freeman. Steve, a $575,000 listing. Is that right?
Yeah, it was 575, and we were under contract in less than 24 hours after going live.
Perfect. Yes, love that. But then the next piece, this story keeps evolving. Tell us about the neighbors. What do you know about the neighbors now?
So the neighbors on that house are in their 70s. It's a 2-story. They don't particularly care for the neighbor that is next to them. And I don't necessarily know if they will jive very well with the people buying the listing that I've got. So I'm working on finding a way to help them get out of that home into something more manageable for them, because they've got a lot of health issues as well. And if anybody knows anybody that wants dogs or likes dogs, they have several that I need to help them find a way to move forward with.
That's tough. That's tough.
Well, all that to say, all that to say is, I know Steve was telling me, get this random call, you go list this house, you get it under contract, and then you were telling me about the neighbors across the street probably want to sell soon, the neighbor next door, the other neighbor next door. He might have three more, listings right there in that neighborhood based on
Yeah, it would
this
be
one.
3 out of the 4 homes on that street.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Love that. I wish they were all like that.
All right, so I'll share another free tip that I learned from another agent, which he kicks ass with. So you got a client that buys a house in a new neighborhood. This guy will go around with a welcome to the neighborhood card and talk to like 10 neighbors and say, hey, we got this couple, with their permission, got this couple moving in over here. They're Bobby and Susie. They got 2 kids. They're great people. Can you just sign this card? Welcome them to the neighborhood. Not asking them any real estate stuff at all. And almost every time it leads to a real estate conversation. And nobody says, hell no, I don't want to sign that card. I don't want to welcome new people. He gets in conversations every time. So a $3 or $4 card leads to easy conversations. So
I like that.
I like cheap stuff like that. So but, all right. Anything else regarding that kind of stuff, listing stuff or buyer questions? Got all these brilliant minds to help you answer them. And me. Nope. All right. Anybody reading anything good? Life-changing books, business-changing books? I've heard of that one, Ryan.
This one don't work. This other one will.
Looks like it's big enough to beat someone up with.
You could hurt somebody with that book. A lot of brain power in there.
Hey, Sandy's reading the book club book. Good job. Turn your mic on, Sandy.
Can't hear you, Sandy. You're muted, girl.
I said I only bought it. I haven't opened it. So
It's a 2-step process. Getting it is the first step. So I'm in chapter 5, I think, in it. And it's
are you?
some of it's over my head, or it's not really over my head. It's just that's not where I'm at in my business right now. But a lot of it makes a buttload of sense. Some of it kind of goes on the Pareto principle. Get that stuff that doesn't make you any money, give that to someone else, and focus on the stuff that makes you more money. That's the short, condensed version of what some of it is. But it's repetition is important on those things. And he talks about sorting his email. Why is he reading through all that email? I mean, I have 40,000 emails in my email boxes right now. I am not sorting through that stuff. But
I did.
Go ahead.
I don't anymore. I got them out.
Good for you. They don't bug me. I just let them go. But it's, I don't know. There's certainly some value into getting the low priority stuff off of your plate and focusing on the more important stuff, whether it's your family, your business, and those specific activities or whatever it is. Go ahead, Tim. Have you read that book? I saw you commented. You're muted, Tim.
Whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, I was reading the Nordstrom Way. It's a fantastic read. Like, I highly recommend it. Basically talking about the Nordstrom family and how they started their retail chain. I think we just have one here in town at Oak Park Mall, but nationally, they really at the time that they started, they weren't doing anything unique as far as what they were selling. It was how they did it and how they made their customers feel like family members and how they went out of their way. And it was pretty incredible. I'm about halfway through it, but just how they equipped and empowered their salespeople. And it was real similar. I read another book that they did a similar concept, but in Nordstrom, basically they gave every employee the permission to go out of their way to create a remarkable experience for their client. So like one shopper, for example, was a single mom. She had her kids with her. She bought a ton of stuff. The sales clerk that was helping them, instead of like watching her struggle with her bags and like try to hang them off the handle of the stroller, grabbed another associate and they helped her to a car. They carried all the stuff out and loaded it into her car for her, walked all of her purchases out to the car, which seems like a no-brainer, but retail chains aren't doing that right now. They're just not. And even back then, that wasn't the norm. And so those were just like some little things that they started doing. The Nordstrom, they realized that a lot of shoppers would come in, or the shoppers earlier in the day would have a coffee in their hand. So they created the E-Bar or the Nordstrom Cafe so that they could cater and have bagels and muffins and coffees and stuff, so that they, one, to make more money, but then also just to do that little extra level of service. It made me think of yesterday. I had a conversation right after the ALC meeting with Trisha Henson, and Trisha was talking about some extra services that she was providing to one of her listing clients. And she was like, they're a 4%er. And I was like, what's a 4%er? And she does the tiered pricing schedule. Like, this is what I do at 3%. This is what I'll do for 4%. And so she had some clients paying her a 4% listing fee because she's providing some extra level of service. And Nordstrom Way talks a lot about that. Like, we can charge a premium because we're providing an experience that our clients want and desire and look for. And then there's just a bunch of like case studies in there of where they went above and beyond and how they created excellence in their customers' experience. And so, Paul, you mentioned earlier, like, knowing your value proposition and what's your unique value proposition. What do you do for me to command that? You use the $15,000 paycheck. What are you doing? And Nordstrom was saying, hey, you can buy these shoes at that store, or you can buy these shoes at our store, and here's what you get. Here's the experience if you buy it from our store. And
Right.
Some people want the discount experience, right? They want to save a buck. Totally cool. I just may not be the real estate agent for you. But if you
Right.
want the experience, you might not even get me for 3%. You might be paying me 4%, but the experience is going to be second to none. And or I'm going to go not the extra mile, I'm going to go the extra 4 miles. Depends on what the desired experience is. And that's what this book, The Nordstrom Way to Customer Experience Excellence, is about. Just providing an experience that creates loyal fans and raving fans. It's a great read. Highly recommend it.
That's awesome. Thank you. In that Buy Back Your Time book, he talks about, one example he gives is he shows a pin that's a 50-cent pin. And then he'll put it in a walnut box that's lined with felt, red felt, and has it on the counter. Now it's a $50 pin. Then he'll put it in a fancier box in a glass case where you can only touch it if you have the employee help you. Now it's a $100 pin. So it's really about creating that experience, like Tim said, and making it something worthwhile when it's still the same cheap pin. So the book I'm going to read next month that ties right in here is The Full Fee Agent. It's a 2023 book. It's the subtitle, How to Stack the Odds in Your Favor as a Real Estate Professional. And it is, I'll read this quick to you. The Full Fee Agent is a proven blueprint for getting more business and, more importantly, doing business in a better way. Every deal comes easier with less stress and more profit. The tough conversations that used to haunt you become effortless. Your pipeline fills with repeat and referral clients, and you feel more authentic and balanced than ever before. It's all thanks to one crucial skill in this one book. This is the one book you need to master it. So that is April's book, The Full Fee Agent. I highly recommend it. I've heard lots of agents swear by it, and now it's my turn to read it and hopefully swear by it later. So if you guys are interested, that'll be our April book, pardon me. So,
I'd be interested in seeing what a fee schedule Trisha does, like what it looks like.
There are examples out there. I may have one I can share with you. I know where your office is. So
I haven't really ever looked that up, but I've thought about it before. Yeah, it sounds interesting to me, but I'm not sure I want a power wash or anything. I can't even start the thing. So I need help.
well, imagine having that confidence and the systems in place to be able to tell someone, yeah, I only work for this. And they might say, well, so everyone else is this. you can say, okay, but they don't offer what we offer, and they don't have the systems and the whatever in place that we have. That's why we offer more, because we do more and provide better top service, whatever, for our clients. And, so go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I was just going to say that exactly that, what Trisha's model, and I definitely don't want to speak on her behalf. You definitely would want to get with her on that. But I do know that there's several agents, even Gene Rivers, who's one of my KW heroes. Gene Rivers has different pricing structures. If this is the experience you want, this is our fee. If that's the experience you want, that's our fee. I do know this, my personal experience with the electrical business. I used to kind of just cast a super broad net and like anything and everything that we would do. And unfortunately, some things you just don't make money on, right? Like if you just do anything and everything, in order to be really good at something, you may not be really good at something else. And the analogy that comes to mind that Tony Robbins shared was, if you're going to be the world's best NASCAR driver, you might be the fastest out on the track, but you're really good at turning left, but you suck at turning right, right? Like you can dominate if you're going to just master the art of turning left. And so with the electrical business, there's some things that we don't have tiered pricing on. Like we can't do a discount version of that right there, that service. If you want that service from us, it costs this. And because we've learned what's a pain point, right? So like, for example, in the winter, overhead masts often get ripped off of houses in ice storms, right? Ice storms weigh down heavy branches, they break, they fall on your overhead line. And if the mast isn't attached to the house properly, it rips it off the house. We've seen that a lot, right? And then Evergy comes and they kill power to the house, and then they go, hey, you need to get your electrician out here and they need to repair that. Well, there's a lot of electricians that run around and just do a quick Band-Aid just to get the house fired up, and then they've got a hazardous situation and it never gets readdressed because the homeowner doesn't know any different. And so, that process that, it's like, oh, well, this other guy said they could do it for $700. Cool. Call the other guy. We don't do that. We don't have a $700 version for that service, right? Like in listing, I don't have a 2% listing version. I do have a 2.5%. I don't have a 2% listing version, because the experience that I provide, it only can get discounted so much, or it can only get stripped down so much. And then the experience, not the same. So like going back to the Nordstrom way, that you can buy a pair of shoes at Walmart and you can do it for $20, but you can't even buy a belt buckle at Nordstrom for $20, right? Like, so, and they just, that's not the service that they're providing. They're not providing that. So yeah, you're right, Paul. Like you have to identify, am I willing to do a tiered structure? Am I willing to offer different levels of service? Or do I command one level of service that if you don't want to pay my price, if you're not interested in my service, great, I just might not be the right agent for you.
Right.
Start my tier at, am I on here? I start my tier at 3% and go up.
Yeah.
No, but yeah.
There are occasionally, like I've had listings where they want to sell them as is, and it looks like crap, and they're not going to fix anything up. They don't, the best pictures in the world are still going to make it look like crap. So there are things where you can maybe sell it cheaper, especially if they're investors that might do multiple deals with you. I mean, I don't know if Brannigan charges 3% on all of hers. She's got so much repeat business. I venture that she probably out reduces her commission a little. But there's also power saying and telling clients, you can choose your commission. What level of service do you want? We can go budget, or we can go cream of the crop, and let them choose. So
I would say we can start at 3 and go up. What do you want? What else would you like me to do?
Hey, Sandy, I definitely agree with you in that aspect, because you're giving up what? Your most valuable asset. You're going to give up your time to manage this. And Paul, to your point, if it's a lower commission that you would usually charge, I'm not going to put as much time into it. So you can justify that. I definitely agree with that too. So there's a healthy balance here, guys. Like there's no right or wrong answer in all of this. You just need to figure out what it is, the value that you're providing, and understand what it is that you're going to be compensated for what you're going to provide to them. But sure, I like Sandy's opinion better.
I'm going to structure, but I'm going to structure up. So I don't know.
Great
You know,
job,
there's
guys.
also opportunities to help someone buy an investment property and then help them sell it once they flip it too.
Mhm.
So you could get 2 deals out of something if you have some flexibility initially, maybe. So
I did that, Paul, with David. That was my example. But I'm definitely not doing the 2.5 on the cheap price, right? On the buy side, like, because those oftentimes you're like trying to get a clear title, or you're jacking with an auction purchase or something like,
Sure.
I'm going to need a heck of a lot more. I'm probably going to need
Right.
more than 3% on that, because right, it's always the $100,000 property that takes the most amount of work.
True.
Right. And it's a pain in the butt, and it's the least amount of compensation. So not discounting anything if it's below, it's just, it's not worth it. You don't get paid in anything.
Yeah, some of those it's better to do a flat rate. If it's a $50,000 or $80,000 place, you might do a flat rate. Say it's going to be $3,500 or something. And
Definitely.
do that.
This
So,
is Jen. I actually sell a lot of cheaper properties, and I completely 100% agree. I have more struggles with the cheaper the property is.
gotcha. That's a mystery voice. Who is that?
Jen.
That's
thank
Jen Thompson. Yeah, you're so right on, Jen. Like, they have more inspection items. There's less margin to deal with inspections. Usually the budget,
people on Facebook.
so it's a ton of work. So yeah, yep, I get it.
Cool. All right, 10:59. Any last words, anybody?
What a great mastermind. We had a lot of stuff.
All of good. I tend to be all over the place. That's my life right now. So
Me too.
and Tammy commented about my dog Stitches. He's doing better. Thank you, Tammy. So, but have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.